We love a great FAFO moment, and I have another one for you. First, some background. 65% of the state of Alabama voted for Donald Trump. Alabama is in the top 10 poorest states in the United States related to federal poverty level. While many of these voters sit behind their computers and celebrate Elon Musk cutting waste, little did they know it was going to impact them. This week, over 250 residents in Huntsville, Alabama received a notice from their electric company that they were going to have to pay an additional $100 surcharge. The explanation for this was that Donald Trump's recent executive order ended a $1 million grant to the utilities company to help these customers pay for their electric bill. Leaders in Alabama are furious because they said this is counterintuitive to Donald Trump's promise to lower energy costs. Tots and pears.
Someone challenged me and said, "Oh, how do you know that? You don't live in the US. How do you know that I don't live in the US? Do you have any proof?" You don't have any proof. I could be your next door neighbor, or you're talking about my accent. Yes, I know my accent is not an American. Even Melania Trump, she doesn't speak like an American. Her accent is not an American, but she lives in the United States of America. Don't judge me because of my accent. Just listen to what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't know where I live. I could be your next door neighbor. I could be in the same bracket just like you. That's why I made this video. Thou shalt not judge me based on my accent. But one thing is for sure is, American people voted for Trump, believing that Trump is going to cut the cost of living, or Trump is going to lower the inflation rate in the United States of America.
At this point, Alabama Power need to be investigated. Ain't no way. Who told y'all to keep sending us these high power bills? Ain't no way it take that much electricity for a little light and a little heat. Every time I see my power bill, I'm like, what? How is it that your power bill can be kind of normal and then it get cold for 2 days and it goes up $200 or $300? Somebody let me know. But then when the weather smooths back out, it go down $3-4. Somebody let me know, cause I stay in a little small house. I got a duo system on it, which is like with gas and electric. So in the summertime, I use electric to cool my house. In the wintertime, I use gas. So in the summertime, my gas bill goes down to like $10, $12. Wonderful. My power bill never goes down. So I called him and I was like, why is this power bill so high all the year round? Why ain't I ever catching a break? It's wintertime. I'm not even heating my house off electric. She was like, well, in the summertime, your power bill be almost $600 all the time. How? Don't nobody be there. And let me add, y'all, she said, we put you on budget billing. Ain't nobody told y'all to put me on no budget billing. Is anybody tired of getting these high electric bills from Alabama Power? Y'all tag somebody in the comment. Who responsible? Because I don't know if I'm going to make these bills so high. Y'all drop in the comments and tell me if y'all having the same problem.
Alabama households are paying some of the highest electric bills in the entire country, about $173 a month on average. Most of you told us that you'd be stoked to get a bill that low. Bills that high are not normal, and it's definitely not okay. WBRC6 recently broke down why. We looked at the data too and found that nearly 30% of every bill is going towards pure profit for Alabama Power's parent company. Not better service, not grid upgrades, just profit. Meanwhile, families are stretching groceries, skipping repairs, and doing anything trying to keep the lights on. Affordable electricity should not be a luxury. It should be the standard. If you haven't seen the full WBRC6 investigation, go watch it and share it. The more people who understand what's happening here, the more it becomes harder to ignore. It's time for fair rates, real transparency, and real accountability in Alabama.
Stick around and help me boost this video so people will see it, please. Alabama pays some of the highest electricity bills in the nation, This lady is Twinkle Kavanaugh. She was the president of the Alabama Public Service Commission for over a decade before leaving in November to take a position with the Trump administration. And the governor appointed Cynthia Lee Allman to fill the position until 2028. The PSC is an elected body that is supposed to regulate utilities and look out for the people. But they ain't been doing that. Alabama Power hasn't been audited since the 80s. And it seems like when they want to raise rates, the PSC just goes. And the people are tired of it. PSC president isn't up for re-election until 28, but the other two seats on the PSC are on the ballot this year, and several people have thrown their hat in the ring. Now, with all this talk about Alabama Power doing what they want and the PSC rubber stamping it and people looking for change, Alabama Power said, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to freeze rates for 2 years. Rates will be frozen until 2028. Your bill won't go up. Who's on the PSC will not matter. You're welcome. Should be good news. But be careful when you shake a hand, because the other one might be holding the knife that's being plunged in your back. Legislation was introduced last week that would change the PSC from election-based to appointment-based. Instead of the people voting for who sits on the commission, they will be appointed in 2028 by the governor, House Speaker, and Senate President, all of whom can legally accept donations from the utility companies their appointments would regulate. They're trying to take citizens' voices away and leave the decision to people who line their pockets with money from the very people they're supposed to protect the people from. And the worst part? Alabama is a conservative supermajority, so most of the time you can point to the supermajority as the source of the problem. Not this time. Republicans and Democrats both support this. The bill has been sponsored by both sides, a bipartisan effort to fuck the people. When Alabama citizens have finally had enough of Alabama Power and the PSC holding their boot on the neck of the people, when people are saying enough is enough, the state government says, well, we'll just take the decision away from you then. And then, with a final twist of the knife, the state legislature has the audacity to name the bill the Alabama Affordability Protection Plan. Hallelujah, and roll tide.
So if you live in Alabama, stop and listen to this, especially if you have Alabama Power. So this is Saturday, January the 17th, and it just come out an hour ago that we have now moved from the number 4th position to the number 3rd position of being the highest electric bills in the country. Are you hearing this? In the country. 3rd now. We were 4th, but now we're 3rd. Alabama. So this study just come out, and it was done by a U.S. Energy Administration type person. I'm not really sure what that consists of, but that did come out today. It was like, I don't know, maybe I did a story about 6 months ago where we were number 4. Yeah, so now we've moved to number 3. People's bills here in Alabama have tripled this billing cycle. So you just got your bill. It usually reads like the 1st of January, and you know what your bill is going to be around January 6th, 7th, or 8th, right? So I'm assuming that's for December. Yeah, well, December tripled. Freaking tripled. People here are having to decide, do we pay our power bill? Do we feed our family? How are we going to put gas in our car to go to work? Crazy. This is past the level of news here. This is past our governor. Our governor is not going to do shit. She's part of the problem. She's in on it. She gets a kickback from it. Of course, she's not going to do anything about this. This needs to go higher. It needs to go to national news. This has got to be addressed, guys, or we cannot stop.
In the latest episode of Fuck Around and Find Out, we have Alabama finding out that that credit that they were receiving for those electric bills was coming from federal funds that Don Don has turned off and has not turned back on and doesn't look like he will be turning back on. So we're looking at about 2,000 homes. So roughly about 225 people have already received their letter in the mail stating that that credit that they once received on their electric bill, which was roughly about $100, they will no longer be receiving, and it will be debited, and they will need to be paying it back. Now, there's tons of videos of people saying, oh, wait, but no. Again, once we check the voter rolls and the statistics of that state, we see that that was a very big Don Don supporter, so you all absolutely got what you were asking for. You wanted him, and you wanted him to weed out all of that government spending. Well, here we are. This money absolutely came from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that basically came from the Department of Health and Human Services. And this is for low-income home energy assistance programs is how they were using this money. Now, we are definitely in a constitutional crisis because Congress has already awarded this money that they are over here withholding. That's how they're saying that they have found all of this government spending that was wasteful and whatnot, just by not turning on money that was already awarded to programs like this. So you're looking at elderly, you're looking at children that will not have electricity come in the coming months because why? $100 will absolutely bankrupt people who are living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, ends barely waving at each other, nonetheless meeting. And the fact that we are looking at people whose total income is less than 150% below the federal poverty line, give or take, household of four, you're looking at about $48,000 for the year. My Alabama folks, if y'all want someone to call because you're angry about this, Kay Ivey, and we've talked about her before, go ahead and call her office. Tommy Tuberville, we've talked about him before. Go ahead and call his office. And Katie Britt, go ahead and call her office and let her know how you all feel about them allowing the president to withhold funds that Congress has already awarded to your state. That money is yours. So you need to get them to go in there and absolutely fight for you, the constituents. Get them folks a call and tell them that's what y'all voted them for. They need to call them people and figure out where y'all money at. Because, again, Congress has already awarded this money. It is rightfully yours.
Well, Donald Trump, before office, Donald Trump made wide range of promises. And one of the things that Donald Trump made a promise to people is that he's going to reduce inflation. He's going to make people's life better than it were. He's going to cut costs of electricity. But look at what has happened. Ever since Donald Trump came into office, he has made life so hard on people. He has destroyed the economy. The electricity is so high, the cost of electricity is so high, contrary to what he had made promise. He promised people that there will be no wars, there will be no new wars. Look at what has happened. Less than 2 years, Iran, US, and Israel, they are into fights. What Donald Trump promised and what he is delivering, those are far too apart. That is not right. Ladies and gentlemen, people are frustrated because every day they keep asking the same questions. How high is the electricity? Because people are working so hard. They are budgeting. They are paying bills right and left. Not just electricity. Bills keep piling up. Home bills, electricity bills, phone bills, car insurance, mortgage, hospital. So many bills keep piling up every now and then. And they are also asking some other critical questions. What happened to the promises that Donald Trump specifically made to us? Because Donald Trump made a promise that he is going to cut down all these electricity bills that the Alabama residents are facing. But right now, things do not look quite nice. What really happened? During campaigns or during political campaigns, Donald Trump made a lot of promises that he's going to lower the living cost, that he's going to lower inflation, he's going to lower gas prices, he's going to make sure that American people get a relief and American people start seeing, improvement in their pockets as far as life is concerned. But right now, everything that Donald even made a promise to the American people that there will be no new wars in America for the first time, that he will not initiate any war with other countries. But look at what has happened. In less than 2 years, Donald Trump is already fighting with Iran. And in return, this has costed a lot of money to the taxpayers. Now, the same taxpayers, they are facing high influx of electricity bills. You see, electricity does a lot of work in America. Air conditioning, cooking, major operations use electricity. Some cars or motor vehicles, they use electricity. Some businesses cannot function without electricity. So if you increase the cost of this electricity, you're making people's life quite hard. Because without electricity, life is going to be 2 times harder. Now raising this cost is also going to be so hard. And why is it that Donald Trump is increasing the cost of very critical things in the United States of America? Electricity, gas, those are very critical things. When you touch those, you touch the life of an American, ladies and gentlemen. And that is so sad, because they elected you, they voted for you, because they wanted a relief. They wanted a relief in their pockets, in their lives. But that is not happening. Life has become so stressful, man. They have to pay insurance, they have to pay for the grocery, they have to pay for the Medicaid, they have to pay for the health, they have to pay for the house, they have to pay for the phone, they have to pay for the car, they have to pay for everything. On top of that, you hike electricity bills. That is not so fair. Have some mercy on American people. This is not what Donald Trump promised American people. At the end of the day, what people care most about is what is coming inside their pockets. That is what they care about. People care about what they are making. If the money that they are making, they can be able to sustain themselves. They can be able to save. That is what money speaks. We might argue all we want, but at the end of the day, money speaks. And the United States of America, you need money. Yes, you need money to sustain yourself. You need money to stay afloat. You need money to survive. You need money to buy food. You need money to buy water. You need money to stay alive in the United States of America. Because if you don't have that same money, life is going to be so hard on you. Yeah. Someone said that, oh, you don't live in the US. How do you know that? How do you know that I don't live in the US? Because of my accent? Because my accent is not an American? Melania Trump herself, she doesn't have an American accent. But can you say the same thing about her? How do you know that I don't live in the US? You don't know that. You don't know that. You have no proof where I live. And I don't have to tell you where I live. But let me tell you for a fact is, if you don't have money in the US, life is not going to be so sweet. It's not going to be so sweet. And that is what most Americans care about at the moment. They are caring what is coming inside their accounts and what is living inside their accounts. You can argue all you want, but that is what is in their mind. And Donald Trump knew this. And that is why he made a promise to the American people that I'm going to lower the cost. Someone challenged me and said, oh, how do you know that? You don't live in the US. How do you know that I don't live in the US? Do you have any proof? You don't have any proof. I could be your next door neighbor Or you're talking about my accent. Yes, I know my accent is not an American. Even Melania Trump, she doesn't speak like an American. Her accent is not an American, but she lives in the United States of America. Don't judge me because of my accent. Just listen to what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't know where I live. I could be your next door neighbor. I could be in the same bracket just like you. That's why I made this video. Thou shalt not judge me based on my accent. But one thing is for sure is American people voted for Trump, believing that Trump is going to cut the cost of living, or Trump is going to lower the inflation rate in the United States of America.